Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bookcraft. My name is Colleen. I am your host, debut author, serial entrepreneur, and today I am so excited to have with me Zack Slingsby. He is a upcoming debut author from Nashville, Tennessee, but he is not new to the world of creativity. He has a comedic company called King Jester, which he hosts on YouTube and Instagram, providing comedy in a time when we all need some comedy. Zack, welcome to the show.
Hey, Colleen, thanks for having me. I will
Absolutely.
say I'm not from Nashville. I don't deserve that much. I live in Nashville. I'm from the New York area.
Oh, from New York area.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, for those people that don't know who you are, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, writer, producer, and I've been in content for a long time, over 10 years now, mostly branded content, brand entertainment, which is content that's coming from a brand, videos or short films or web series, typically that are not ads. So they're story driven in some way. They're narrative, right? So that's what we've been doing for a long time. And as you noted, King Jester is a new venture, about a year old, a little less than a year old, working with some of the best internet comedians to create satire across different platforms.
I love it. I've watched a few of them and I giggle. I mean,
Look,
I'm right
giggles,
in there. I was like, "Oh, that is funny."
that's what we want. It starts with a giggle.
Absolutely. Now you have your MFA.
Yep.
Was writing always like from a lot of people that are like, I'm writers at a young age. I knew I wanted to do that. Was that for you as well?
Yeah. 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 I wanted to write more than anything. I still do. And I just have sort of channeled it over the last decade into, these other digital formats. But literature has always been my first love. I got the MFA right after college in New York at the New School, and I had written a novel then that I got prestigious representation for, and it did fail to sell through to a publisher. It was probably 25, and that was very disheartening for me. I was very upset about that. So I sort of recalibrated my creative sights a little bit and started to explore these new mediums, but it was never far from me. And I've always read and I've always written. I wrote other books. I just didn't take them to market really in this with the same alacrity and hope that I took that first one out. And at a certain point, you say, if I really care about this, I should revisit it and spend some time trying to make it happen, which is what I did in the last year. There's a real beauty to never doing anything with your books. You can always think of some way to make them a little more perfect, a few years down the line. But maybe it's better to be a mediocre actual novelist than a perfect potential one.
Yeah. And it's hard, the experts say you can edit it to death or you can
Yeah.
say it's going out. We're
Yeah.
doing this.
Yeah.
And
So
you'll get feedback too from your readers, what they loved. Your first novel that is coming out, The Ballad of the Gangster's Daughter. So this is a crime novel. Is this the genre that you read the most, that you love the most, or did you pick this genre because it was kind of something that you loved?
yeah, so it's a crime drama, I would call it, right? So, and I don't know, the publisher and some of the PR, they're not using that exact term, but I would say it's different than crime fiction because it's crime fiction I love. I'm a big fan, especially the crime noir of the 30s and 40s. I love that stuff. But I would say crime drama is a little bit more literary, a little bit more character driven, and probably ultimately about something else besides crime, right? It's in this case, it's a family story and about the tension of the protagonist between exploring the weight of her loyalty and the debts that she owes the people she loves, and her own capacity for uh, exploring her gifts, right, and going out into the world and what she can do and what she can achieve. So that tension is the core of the novel. Now, wrapped around that is this crime story that I think is engaging and exciting and intricate and has overtones of The Godfather and uh, some organized crime lore, but at heart, it's a literary story.
Nice. When you were writing it, because you're doing so much visual media now with the King Jester and the stories,
Mhm,
when you
mhm.
were writing this, were you seeing it as the movie in your head and seeing it as how it could be on the screen and kind of writing it that way? Or were you just right into the literary, like, this is the prose I want to use?
It's a great good question. I don't know if I'm totally aware of it. I think probably was a little visual, but not really. You know, maybe not even as much as I should have been. Like it's pretty driven by the sort of vignettes of the chapters, right? There's 7 chapters, and each one tells about the loss of a different of Serena's sisters, different one of Serena's sisters, right? So she has 7 sisters. They all die in this sort of premature way throughout the book. And so each of those chapters was just driven by that core tragedy. And then how do you build a sort of a world around uh, that family curse, right? Either it's Serena's own life, or is a bit of a who's going to die and who's the character we should watch out for, or it's reacting to the tragedy of another one dying. So they were once that device kind of came into the book, everything was kind of based around that. Now that by itself is a little bit of a cheap cinematic trick, but outside of that, I think it's yeah, after that it was fairly interested in the story and the prose.
Yeah. And this takes place over 5 decades. So the first decade is which year? Which sort of decades are you starting in?
The book, I believe begins in, 1970, and then,
Okay.
but then in a later chapter, we flash back. So 1970 in Connecticut, it ends in, 2010 in Chicago, but in the middle, we flash back to 1961 in the Bronx, and that's their origin story, right? That's the family's, sort of ground zero for all of their behaviors and hangups and interests and the ways that the tapestry of all their characters have been woven all started with this classic time period of the Bronx in the '60s and, you know, what the culture and the streets and the characters were like there.
Yeah. And there's so much like, there's just so much vibrancy that you can build in when you take, one of these, the 70s, 80s, the 90s, these eras. My book is in the 90s, and so I actually made a playlist, and I had so many people, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm back in high school." I'm like, "Thank you, you just aged yourself."
That's
But you
awesome.
but you can pull all those
What's on
things
that play?
in.
I gotta hear about that playlist. What do you got on the '90s playlist?
Oh, I have, Offspring,
Yeah,
I've got some Chili Peppers.
amazing.
I
Yeah.
have,
Goo Goo
um,
Dolls, Goo Goo Dolls, Oasis, OAR, any of those get on there? Yeah.
all of those,
Well,
yeah, and
we're trying to license a song, couple songs right now. We're doing a show called Last Call at the '97 Saloon. It's a digital comedy, and I guess if this will come out, I can't tell it all now, but it's a comedy web series, and it's about a guy who's, for mysterious reasons, comes back or comes forward into from 1997, and so he has all the 1997 associations. But yeah, I really hear that. What inspired you about the '90s that you felt like this was the time to set a story? Because it seems
So I
like
was
that,
a
yeah.
dolphin trainer for 20 years,
Yeah, I saw that.
and in 1997 to 2000, I lived in the Bahamas. And
Okay, great.
so the book is set. So it's my fictional life, it's my life. Every character is me.
Nice.
And the dolphins are characters too, because I was a dolphin trainer, and so obviously. And so what I did was I just pulled real life things and put it together into a story. So, didn't use people's actual names, attributed stories to other characters, switch male to female, but it's really fun to even just to look back at my photos and be like, "Oh yeah, we did that." And like we did a BBC movie the one year, so that's in the next book is all the stuff filming for the BBC and just
So
fun
cool.
stuff. Yeah,
So cool.
yeah.
Love it.
So
That's gonna be great. Well,
yeah, it's been really fun. So when you're putting together though, like sort of decades and you're building these stories out with the sisters, are you, as an author, are you pantsing? Are you plotting? Are you sticky notes everywhere? Like, what's sort of your process?
uh, I don't do that now. I did do that, mainly on the books that became catastrophic for me. Like, I just eventually stopped working on them because I hated thinking about it. I can't live with the stuff for that long. So, if
Right.
I don't like screenplays or novels or the digital stuff, like, I write it very quickly, and it's not a special talent, it's because, I won't do it otherwise, I will not produce anything. So, I had, when I was in my 20s, I remember my um, wife I was in my I'm sorry, 29, I was working on something, and my wife came home, I was just newly married, and she, I had all these posters all over the apartment wall, like on brick and everything, and then there were like little notes, like scrabbling. She's like, "What is this? Like a beautiful mind in here? Like we can't live like this." And I was like, "I know, it's crazy." So I don't do that. I pretty much just write it. I get excited. I get a lot of ideas. I write them in the same document. I try to turn them into paragraphs, into chapters. So I don't. I have a lot of notes like anybody, but I don't. They don't tend to become stuff. I just when I get excited and I can write it in a short time, it's the
Yeah.
best.
And I think authors need to figure out what their thing is. Like, the people that say, don't edit as you're writing. I need
Yeah,
to edit as I'm writing. Like I
yeah,
have to no, I have to do this now. Or it's not
yeah.
gonna get it. Or the
What
ones that
do
are,
you write like every day? Like, are you editing every day, every time that you write something, or you're waiting until you have a draft, or what?
I'm a sprinter like you. Like
Yeah,
my first book, I did 2-3 week sprints and I wrote every day for hours at a time. And then the book was done. And then it was just the editing. And the editing took a long time because the first book I wrote linear, so I wrote start to finish. The second book, though, I wrote in scenes and chapters, and then I had to put it all together, and that's a nightmare. I'll never do that again.
yeah.
But I find too, like you, if I get it all out, then I can go back and edit it later. But I can't sit and spend 10 years with it.
Yes, totally, totally. It's not it dies or something.
Yeah, it does. And I think it's also interesting because like this is your first book coming up, but obviously you're not new to having a presence online. Are you for this book? Do you think you're going to do anything like book tours, in-person events? Are you looking at that? Or are you kind of looking because this one you're an imprint of Simon and Schuster, correct?
It's Postal Press. They distribute through Simon and Schuster.
Okay,
Yeah,
so are you thinking you might do any of that stuff? Because you never know what's going to work, right?
you don't. Yeah, I will do. We have some events I'm going to do. There's going to be August 3rd in Nashville at Parnassus Books, which is Ann Patchett's bookstore. Yeah, it's great. We're very excited
Just
about that.
oh my
We,
gosh.
she, so yeah, that's going to be. I'm going to be in conversation with a good friend of mine, Carolyn Xavier, who's a comedian and also an author, and um, so we're gonna have that event here, and then I'm gonna do one in New York, and then there's random panels and stuff coming up. I don't know. I don't. I like to talk about the book to an extent. I want to sell the book. Obviously, that's important to do, and no one exactly does it for you in this time period of literary culture. So you have to do it. And I don't think people know what sells books. My theory is that I don't think anybody knows. I think that there are people like you who've cultivated such a great, niche community and people, and you have this, the pulse of Goodreads and all that stuff. And that seems to really be a trusted voice that's out there. But by and large, it's not like running ads or something or, just posting and crossing your fingers and seeing who's going to see this and buy it. I think you really have to know who you want to read the book and then make a very good case that they
Yeah,
should, or that people should read books at all, maybe is the case we should make.
yeah,
So, anyway, August 3rd, Nashville will be fun.
that'll be fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, my dad helps me at markets. He's great. My dad sells my book better than I sell my book. Like
Nice.
he's just like, "See, my daughter wrote this book. It's really good. You should read it. Here, why don't you just hold on to it for a second?" Just and then
The
people are like,
sales
"Oh, okay." And he's like, "So you should buy that, right?"
yeah,
I'm just like and me, I'm like, "So I wrote a book. Please
yeah,
like me."
yeah.
Whereas he's straightforward. And it's,
No,
it's
totally.
the smaller I've been doing smaller events lately, and I've done better at smaller events than bigger events. And it's like there's no rhyme or reason to it.
That's very interesting. Yeah, more intimate? I don't know. I think, and also maybe you're more comfortable. Like I think that there's such an indirect relationship between salesmanship and novel writing or whatever, right? So it's like you're going inward and so interior, and then sales is like, trust me, this is good. You guys are gonna like. And I'm okay with that in my media world, but it's harder for me when it's so personal.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think with some authors, they're very introverted. I'm the ambivert, so I'm really good. Put me in front of 5,000 people, I'm the happiest person out
Okay.
there. Put me in a room with some people that I'm like, "Oh, I don't know really who these people are," and I'm like, "Can I go home now? It's after 7 o'clock." Like, I'm
What is
done.
that one called? What did you say it's called? Ambivert?
Ambivert. You're an introvert and an extrovert.
Got it. All right, I'll look at that one. That's
The
good.
made up words that we have out there.
Yes.
Um, so do you think, so with your book coming out, so you're coming out paperback and ebook first. Do you think that you, because you kind of have some resources, do you think you would want to do it as an audiobook eventually?
Oh, it's an audiobook too. It's sold to an audio house. I don't know when that'll be out, but it'll be audio.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. Audiobooks are, and now with Spotify's kind of taken a little chunk out of Amazon, so it's very, but you only get 15 hours on Spotify.
Oh, wow.
I know. And as a
What's the standard number of hours? I don't even know that.
a book, how many pages is your book?
That's a good question. 300?
Under 300 or over?
No, I think it's about a little over. A
A
little
little
over
over?
10.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you'd be looking at like maybe 7, 8 hours.
Okay.
But I'm a sci-fi girly,
There you
so
go.
I'm, the 26-hour Brandon Sanderson.
It's meaty. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that doesn't work for me for 15 hours on Spotify. So, which
Yeah.
is interesting. And so July 28th is your launch date, which I love that you're going to do something at Parnassus Books. I am very jealous of that. Do you have any um plans for another book in this world, or is this a standalone?
Standalone. Just a story.
Standalone. Excellent. And are you working on something else that you can say?
Yeah. Well, most of the projects we're working on are under the auspices of our brand entertainment stuff or the comedy King Jester. But I do personally, yeah, I've got a screenplay film that I hope to get made next year. We're working on that now, some of my partners and myself. And then I should say that's always a lot. It's hard. It's hard to make a movie, hard to get the money to make a movie, hard to get, especially I've never directed a film, a feature film, long form movie, so a real movie. So that's hard to get people to trust you to do. But I do think we have a real shot, and I'm very excited about that. I have other novels I would love to write, and I am certain that I will, but I don't really know when right now. So it's
Yeah,
that's the question.
yeah. And it's always, I think, a lot of times with authors, there's that idea in your head, and you're like, I
Yeah,
really want that idea on the
yeah,
paper. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I just need to start. If I start it, it'll go. I don't know. I feel like it would be irresponsible to start right now because I'll get very obsessive about it. And then so no, I don't have anything started right now.
yeah. And it's okay because you know what? It's always going to be there in your head until time it comes out.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you done or looked at doing any sort of advanced reader teams or anything like that just to kind of get the buzz going for the book?
Yeah, so I have a couple people helping me out, and they have got some folks reading galleys now, in different Goodreads or Book Talk folks. But anybody that you recommend, I would love to hear what you think we should do because I don't know if we know everything we should be doing.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
there's things like NetGalley, so
we
you can
have that.
actually,
Yeah,
you got NetGalley?
I believe we do. Yeah,
Yeah. And then there's also I think it's called Story Origins. There's a few places where you can actually submit your book. And I think one of the challenges is making sure that you have control over who gets your book. Because if somebody doesn't read crime drama, like if they only read, you know, Westerns, they're
right,
not a
right.
good fit for your book. So they're not going to rate it very high, which can be a bit of a challenge. But I love for this one, because you've got multi-decade crime story, I think that you would hit sort of the readers that's almost a little bit historical with the crime story.
Yeah,
Then you've got those Godfather elements in there. So I think that, that's kind of a wide berth of people that you could kind of target that would be like, I would actually be really interested in this book.
totally,
Yeah.
totally.
So I
Yeah,
love that.
that's great advice. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Um, I also wanted to, you said you've been doing some podcasts and kind of out there getting out marketing lately. For launching the book, do you think there's sort of platforms that maybe some authors aren't even thinking about? Like for you, you've got this sort of comedic side where it's, YouTube and Instagram based. Have you found anything just from that you think maybe authors are missing?
Like in the promotion of their book.
Yeah.
Um, Well, I don't know, because I don't know what is working for them, so
Right.
I don't know what's being I'm fairly pessimistic about the novel as a
Okay.
concept, and I maybe shouldn't be. Maybe we're gonna have this great big inversion and everything is gonna kinda go we're gonna analog is the new digital or whatever, and things are gonna go back and people want it, but I don't know what the reason I don't know what sells novels is because I'm not sure that many people wanna buy a novel, and I'm not sure that if they buy it, they're gonna read it. And that's just a sample size of like the thousands of people that I've interacted with over my entire life. So I don't know if there's obviously people like you who are very dedicated to reading and literature and everything else, but I've not generally met them. And so it seems surprising to me when anybody buys a new book,
Yeah.
just as an existential reality, and I'm not complaining about it, just something I've kind of observed, and so I don't know, like, you go into the Strand in New York City, and there are so many just the weight of books in that room, and they just represent just yards and yards of, uh, hope of authors that wanted to do something original and interesting, and I think that that's amazing, but I think that after that part of it has been released, you should try very hard to get people to read it. But at a certain point, I don't know that we have that much say over the rest of the journey
Yeah.
necessarily. Yeah,
I agree. It's finding your readers is very hard. Figuring out where they frequent. Are they on a certain social media platform? Like it's a challenge because we have the booktubers, the bookstagrammers, and the book talkers. And there's people out there that are like, what is that? It's like it's Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, right? And it's these communities of people that kind of come together. But you also have people that are very much like, I only do audiobooks, I only do ebooks, I only
yeah,
do paper books. So yeah, when you go into the Strand, like for me to go into the Strand, I would, you'd have to hold me back because I'd be like, here's my credit
right,
card, take all
right,
my money.
yeah,
But
totally,
for other people, using the library system is amazing. I'm a huge library user, and I think, sometimes it's you use the library and then you buy that book trophy so that you got the book trophy up there because you
yes,
loved it so much. And I think nowadays for new authors, because there's literally thousands upon thousands of books published every day, it's how do you find that person and how do you convince them that your book is the one they actually want to spend the money on?
right. And why do we need another book? We really don't need another book, unless it's going to be honest in some way that feels urgent.
Yeah,
It feels like it hasn't. There's no one other time that we could have read this book, and something about it is really important right now. So I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know if I've done that, or not. But it's. I guess everybody who writes and releases one is betting that in some way they have.
yeah. And I mean, the stats are for most independent authors, they'll sell 5 books, like their mom, their dad, their brother, their sister, up to 100 if they're lucky in the course of their entire book because
Yeah.
you have such a short window. Like, this is amazing because your book comes out July 28th. You've
Yeah.
got the event at Parnassus Books. Parnassus is a beloved bookstore, and Patchett is beloved. I mean, she's an incredible writer, and that's going to be a big boon. But then it's like after that first 6 weeks of the book coming out, then it's like grind and the hustle to keep the
Yeah.
book relevant.
I'm fortunate. I have this, like you pointed out, this media background, and I have a fairly big network, and some folks have brought me on their shows and whatever. And so I have that. I guess I feel lucky to have those things that I built up over the last 10 years. But I also I don't know, like, I don't know why people I don't know what the thing that changes in someone's head when they decide to buy and read a book. I
Mhm.
don't know what that is,
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, I think it used to be like, "Oh, the New York Times wrote this review, and that must be something original about that book and a little bit elevated, and maybe it's got something in it that I should check out." And I don't know what that mechanism is now, you
yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. And even like I think Kirkus Reviews is gone now. Most people don't trust the New York Times list because they've figured
Yeah.
out that it's bought.
Yeah.
And it's
Game of
not
Thrones.
even, your book was amazing. It's
Yeah.
like, I had enough money to give you.
Yeah, and I'm not doing this whole dance like everybody's too stupid to read, like, I don't believe that, I think that people are plenty smart, it's just there's a media, blitz on our brains all day, every day, and I'm as bad as anybody, and I, you know, allegedly, ostensibly care about this stuff, so it's like, how could someone who's got a real important work and job and family and bills and everything else, sit alone for hours and read something that I made up? I don't know. It's a real existential question.
I host reading retreats, and my boyfriend always says to me, "Why would anybody pay to go sit in the woods and read a book?" So there was 10 of us on the last retreat, and we sat there and read books for
Yeah,
2 days.
great. It's great. There's
And
something that yeah, totally.
yeah,
Continue. Yeah,
and there's something about unplugging because I think people are so mentally exhausted from the doom scrolling and everything else that having an actual physical book, like you said earlier, the analog, you're going back to the actual book and being able to you can't do anything else when you're holding that book. You can't be scrolling, you can't be doing your laundry. And so I hope that people will pick your book up and be like, this is a chance to get away, dive into this world with Serena and her family and kind of figure out because I love that you said that it's more of a crime drama than just like a crime so that people don't confuse it with like a true crime
yeah,
book, but it's more of that literary focus and the story around those characters.
yeah.
I did
We
wanna ask you
yeah.
too, is Serena, a character that's sort of like an amalgamation of other characters that you have read over the years, or is this just something that you were like, "This is the character I wanna write"?
Probably an amalgam, I'm sure, of other characters I've written. Also, I used to really think that you would crack open a character with just long paragraphs of, elaborate, prose about how interesting they really could be and all the different quirky eccentricities of that character, and I don't believe that now, and I didn't do that in this book. It's much more about what they do and what they, obviously what their actions that they take in proportion to the story. And so, none of us are as interesting. None of us is as interesting as our characters if they really come to life. And so, what I can imagine or type up or whatever about someone's character is not as interesting as what she could do in the book. So, I tried to really put her in situations where her actions would reveal a lot about who she is.
Nice. Yeah, so you
Um,
didn't do, Tolkien's 40 pages of describing.
Backstory. No, I mean it's prose heavy, but but I try not to. I really loved writing like that when I was younger, and I still do, and it's really good if you can find it. I mean, the way, John Steinbeck or, you know, uh, the way John Gardner or, um, Norman Mailer, write their characters and will tell you all the things they would do in different situations, and they'll just tell you, right? They're not showing all the time. They're telling you all these things that would happen. Um, and, I think that's great. You need to be a real talented pensman or penswoman to be able to do that. But I think it's safer to sort of have something really interesting going on the
Yeah.
page. Yeah.
And I think reader preferences have changed as different genres kinda take over the top spots. My boyfriend and I had an argument about this the other day because my book has short chapters, and I love a short chapter. And he's like, "Short chapters aren't real books." So I, like, pulled out a New York Times bestseller, and I was like, "Here you go, look at this, it's a half a page." And he was like, "Oh." But people's, their reading sort of, um, the things that they look for, that they love, it changes, and I think, for, a book like yours, I think because true crime is such a huge category, and now you've kinda got this book where you're blending in that literary fiction, I think you've created something that I feel like your book is going to do very well. This is just my
Thank
prediction.
you. I appreciate that. And I'm gonna call you if that's not the case and say,
Okay.
"Hey, got me all excited." No, well, that's the tradition that I wanted to write and, and those, Jonathan Latham and Michael Chabon and, Ian McEwan and Martin Amis, like, those are novels that are so dense with meaning and weight, but they're fun. They're a lot of fun to read, you know? So I really wanna do something like that.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that. Um, just before we wrap up our conversation, I want to know sort of the best place for people to find you online, either with your author work or your comedic work. What's the best place to find you?
totally. They can follow me on Instagram at Zack Slingsby, Zack Slingsby. They can, if they wanted some more giggles like you've had, they can check us out on King Jester on YouTube, Instagram, other social platforms. And then my background brand entertainment company is called Human Factor Media.
Perfect. And I will put everything in the show notes as and the link to your book. Your book is pre-order on I saw on Simon Schuster's site and it's pre-order on Amazon as well. So I'll put links up to that so people can find you.
Correct. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's been great
You're
talking with you.
absolutely. Thanks for coming on today, Zach. Have a great day. And for
Thanks,
everyone at
Colin.
home, thank you so much for listening or watching. Wherever you're at, I hope you enjoy books in the exact way that you love. Thanks, everyone.